Hi everyone, my name is Dr. Mike Jones. I'm the Managing Director of Impact Minerals Limited. We're listed on the ASX under code IPT, and I'm here to talk to you today about our world-class high purity alumina project located here in the Tier 1 jurisdiction of Western Australia. And this is our project area. And the most amazing thing about this lake, and it's a salt lake, about 100 kilometres south of a place called Southern Cross. And in the top 2 meters of that lake is something in the order of $20 billion worth of high purity alumina. And it's all a case of how easy it is to mine this material and then convert it into this high margin and high demand powder, white powder that we're looking to produce over the next couple of years. And we have the right to earn 80% of this project, and I'll leave it to you to look up the details of that. Now, the reason that we believe that it's world-class is the scoping study that we put out last year, which had some very attractive economics. And for a benchmark 10,000 tonnes per annum production of high-purity alumina, it looks like we would have a post-tax NPV at well over $1 billion Australian dollars, which is really quite remarkable. It's about $1 billion US currently. Great capital expenditure efficiency at $250 million Australian. Good IRR of 55%, but the key figure is down the bottom left-hand corner, which is the operating costs at less than $4,000 a tonne. And we believe that that's going to make us one of, if not the cheapest producer of HPA globally. And so as a result of all of that, we would have great cash flow on this project. And that's really what has led us now to be well into a pre-feasibility study, trying to firm up those numbers. Now, this is what's called a cost curve analysis. And what it shows is that the current producers, which are predominantly the Chinese and the Japanese, have got production costs in the order of $15,000 to $20,000 a tonne. There are some new players in the space, Alpha HPA Limited. Their ASX code is A4N. They're sort of in the $6,000 to $7,000 per tonne range, but we believe that we can produce HPA at significantly less, $4,000 or less US dollars per tonne. Now that's put us in a huge commercial advantage and a great position to be as we're trying to break into the HPA market as we go forward. Now, what is high purity alumina? It is aluminum oxide, but with an exceptional purity, and it's termed 4N or 99.99% pure aluminium oxide, and that is the benchmark production. There's a significant market for 3N, and there's also a smaller but high margin market for 5N in specialty uses, which we'll look at. So importantly, HPA is listed on the Australian Criticals Minerals list, and it opens up all sorts of funding for us. There are two main uses for HPA. It's used as coatings and separators in lithium-ion batteries, and basically it stops them exploding. So if you recall the Samsung phones from a few years ago, and now the Tesla batteries, which are catching on fire, HPA prevents thermal runaway and is an important component of those batteries. And also secondly, in LEDs, that's lights in your ceiling and smart screens. And believe it or not, there's very significant demand, forecast growth for both of those markets. This is the supply-demand curve, and basically to summarise, it looks like we're going to see continuing growth at about 15 to 20% a year in terms of demand for HPA, and that sort of leads to a possible supply deficit or certainly supply reduction in 2026, and that's when we hope to be coming into production. So what is high purity alumina worth? Again, looking at the benchmark, the 4N, we're looking at a price on the market today at about $15,000 to $25,000, depending on the use. You can get, as I mentioned, 5N, some very specific uses for this, but they are very high margin products. There is not a lot of volume there. And so in terms of volume and creating a business that can sell 10,000 tonnes a year of HPA, we have to be in the 3N and the 4N space to begin with, and then we will get the cream on the top in the 5N market. So it's a high margin, high demand business. And if you multiply about an average price of $20,000 by nearly 1 million tonnes of alumina, which is what our resource shows we have in the lake, that's where we get our $20 billion of in-ground value for Lake Hope, which is really quite remarkable. And at 10,000 tonnes a year, we have no shortage of material. We've got at least a 50-year mine life. And so with that, plus the economics, we really believe this is a world-class project. So here it is. This is where it's located. We're about 500 kilometres east of Perth. And remarkably, it's located and the deposit occurs in two small lakes in the Lake Hope Salt Lake system, West Lake and East Lake. And we can see here there's even a fire break, basically a haul road that goes right up to the edge of the lake. And remarkably, it occurs in the top 2 meters of this lake. This is how we drilled it out. This is Roland Goddard. He discovered the project, and we hammered out $20 billion worth of material for 60,000 Australian dollars. It really is a most amazing discovery. This is what it looks like. It looks like plasticine, and remarkably, most of it is actually less than micron in size. It's predominantly nanometer-sized particles. And so this is the resource in East Lake, and because it's so easy to dig, basically we're just going to come in off the side and we're going to stockpile material on the side of the lake and then truck it out in basically 3-year mining campaigns. It doesn't get any easier or simpler than this. And compared to conventional mining and our competitors, basically there's no drilling, blasting or crushing. We're just going to haul it off site. We have no need for on-site power, no need for on-site water, and very importantly, there is no long-term rehabilitation risk. It is a unique deposit. I've been around a long time. There is nothing like it out there. And as a result, our OPEX is for mining and logistics is less than 5% of the entire OPEX, which is quite remarkable. 2 important ticks. We've already got an environmental survey done. Looks like there are no issues with mining on the lake. And very importantly, we've already got the tick from the NAJU. And so subject to us having a mining agreement with them, we are basically cleared for mining on the lake, which is incredible. The fine-grained nature and the unique set of minerals that are in the lake actually lead to some very interesting reaction kinetics when we look to process material. And I won't go through the details today, but we've basically got 2 processes that we can look at to get to HPA. We recently announced the LTL process, or the low temperature leach process, which we believe will actually improve on the economics that you saw in the scoping study. And so we're doing some early studies, optimization on both these processes at the moment. And certainly by the middle of the year or Q3, we'll have an idea of how much better the LTL process could possibly be on both the OPEX and in particular the capital expenditure on the project. So some very exciting results to come from that. And we will produce a lot of fertilizer as a byproduct from this process. So the pre-feasibility is in study, in progress, 4 main areas of focus. We've got approvals for mining underway. We're optimising the metallurgical test work. We're looking at where to locate the processing plant. Because we're going to truck the material off site and it costs so little to mine it, we do have a lot of options for us to be able to locate the plant. And a lot of that will be determined by what grants or funding might be available to us under the critical minerals areas to locate the plant. So big scoping study on that. And then finally, and very importantly, we need to provide significant amount of material of HPA for testing and qualification with end users. So whilst this is fairly straightforward to dig it up and process it, we do need to do a lot of work on the nature of the final product and deal with what end users need in their lithium batteries, other types of batteries, and also in their LEDs. So a lot of work to be done there as part of the PFS. I mentioned Alpha HPA. I just wanted to show you this because there's been quite a few players in the HPA space. Virtually none of them have got there yet. There's a lot of our peers have been struggling over a few years. We got to HPA through our process within about 3 months, the LTL process. Most of our competitors took several years to get their first HPA. That's how quick this project can develop. Alpha HPA recently hit a market cap of $1 billion. We're currently at about 40, and we believe that we can follow in their footsteps over the next few years. So it's definitely a stock to keep your eye on. And market cap, as I mentioned, about 40, 42. We've got 2 million in the bank. We've had a very good reception in the last few months. A very good research report came out a couple of days ago, which we'll be circulating, and we have very good support from our German shareholders. So we're in a fantastic position with lots of news flow to come over the next 6 months or so. So last year was very successful. We took on the project with maiden resource, scoping study was completed, and now 2024, it's all about optimising, completing the PFS, getting a small pilot plant going, and then really pushing towards mining and production in 25 and 26. So look, we invite you to come on the journey. We're going to be one of, if not the lowest cost producers of HPA globally. We've got a unique deposit here in Western Australia. We've got a cost-disruptive metallurgical process, full on with the PFS, and we're currently building out our capabilities both in metallurgy and in final product specification in order to get offtake contracts, which are the most important things towards finance in a few years' time. And we believe that timing is going to be great, and we're going to deliver into a high margin growth market with significant upside potential at exactly the right time. So any questions, please get in touch with me. Go to our Investor Hub, sign up to follow the journey, and thank you very much for listening today.